Kosi Sikelele. Sus, got that petty petty. Thug life, Machiavelli. Hush, ik maak stof. Hush, ik maak stof. Hush, ik maak stof. Hush, ik maak stof. I'm a legend in the making, I'm a...
Hello to my YouTube family. How are you guys? We are back. It's the Kay Kulture Podcast, and we are coming with a bang, baby. This is episode 4. What you doing? How you feeling? Get yourself a snack, get yourself a drink. Let's get into it, okay? Today we are going to be discussing our neighbors. But now, this is not rap now. This is not music. This one is podcasting. You guys must keep in mind that I am going to be discussing a lot. Is it not? If it's not music, hip hop, it's going to be general entertainment in there, or it's going to be podcasting culture, because I really love podcasting culture as well. And side note, I really feel like podcasting culture is like the new age hip hop. When I think of podcasting, I think of hip hop like in the 2018, the 2010s, the late 2010s. I'm not talking about, I feel like the sport, the way these people, I don't know how to put it together. I'll find the word soon. But anyways, let's get into today's episode. So today's episode, we are going to be covering the Podcast and Chill and Music Pulse podcast. Basically just the Podcast and Chill whole network, because I don't know how they have beef in one network. This is insane, which I think it's an interesting thing. Which I will get to now, but I really think it's an interesting thing that one network is beefing among each other. Because when the podcasting culture started really becoming more and more prevalent, I hope that's even a word, guys. But yeah, when it started becoming more popular, like just more people doing it, they were beefing amongst each other. If it wasn't MacG throwing shots at the open chats, if it wasn't MacG throwing shots at El Tido, I know El Tido and MacG had a rivalry. If it wasn't the new gen throwing shots at spreading humors, and so it was like networks. It was different networks beefing each other. But the thing about the Podcast and Chill network, like, we have to talk about this. They be beefing in one network. And that's so crazy to me. But then that's one thing I wanted to ask. But then before I do, I just want to ask if you guys can please like, comment, and subscribe, and do the most. Like, just do the most. One of the things I really wanted to discuss is the fact that I feel like the Podcast and Chill network name is doing a great thing in terms of how they operate. Like, they create beef amongst each other, which is fine, because they realize, like, it's like rap. That's why I say it's like rapping, because now it's like in each episode it's like a diss, or this episode is a diss to this or that. So that keeps the audience kind of, that keeps us captured, that keeps us in, that keeps us watching, that keeps us interested. But now my thing I wanted to discuss is this like a known spoken unspoken thing, whereas it's like we know we have beef or we throw shots at each other on the episode, but it's never really personal? I do wonder, and that is why I want to discuss today's topic, because I used to think like, okay, because I hear like sometimes people be talking, like, imagine now I'm on a podcast but my boss, and I can talk shit about my boss on my podcast, and my boss can talk shit about me. So I used to wonder, okay, is MacG okay with like his people that work for him to say things like whatever they say about him? If they say something that's like, is it okay, or is it certain lines that you don't cross? And that's the point I want to make now. Coming to Music Pulse, I want to discuss the fact that MacG feels like Music Pulse is the side chick podcast, but they want to be the main chick podcast. Then I also want to discuss, and we'll be discussing Music Pulse a lot because there's so many things I want to dissect. But yeah, then I also want to discuss the dynamic on Music Pulse. So I'm gonna be let me start with the dynamic on Music Pulse. Nota. Oh my gosh, Nota, if you ever hear my little podcast, I want you to know that I'm a fan, but I never want to meet you. I never want to meet. If there's one person I would never want to meet, it's Nota. Because it must be overwhelming to know this guy. But he is so entertaining. He is so educative. He is so enlightening. Like, what do you call it? He really shows, like, teaches me a lot. Like, every time I watch, I see so much. I'm so entertained, and I'm so, like, he really gets it. But then after I'm finished watching this episode, I find myself drained. I find myself drained for a number of reasons. Number one, I really and I also feel like I'm being a little bit of I wouldn't say, what's the word, man? Like, I'm sitting on the fence a bit when it comes to Nota, because on the one hand it's so entertaining when they go back and forth, but then on the other hand, somebody might be making a point. Either Nota is making a point that I really want to hear the end of. I want to hear him land. Then the arguments and the squabbles that they have with Maffi Stoto and Thakgi, then he ends up not finishing the point, or while I'm so concentrated on him getting to the point, they interrupt it, and then he tries to get back, then they interrupt it again. Same with him, actually. When Maffi Stoto is making a point that I really want to hear, I want to hear him land. Then they either start going back and forth with each other, and then they get mad at each other. Which is another point I wanted to make also. One thing about Nota, and I really love Nota, in terms of that, he's very authentic, which the other ones are too, but then with him, he's such a vibrant character. So it's easy for somebody like that to want to dim yourself down to make other people comfortable, because Nota has a character that if you are not grounded within yourself, his character will really shake you a bit. He will make you, but if you are grounded and you also get to know probably him as a person and understand where he comes from, you probably wouldn't find offense to certain things. But then that's where I want to bring I want to bring MacG and Questa into the same point. Let me land. Now, the thing about Maffi Stoto for me is he is very enlightened, but I can see that Nota has more information about these things than he does. He really does. But that doesn't mean I don't want to hear what Maffi Stoto has to say. That doesn't mean that at all. Because he comes from a place of more groundedness. Nota is more fairy dusty. He's more in a little bit of a world, man. And Maffi Stoto is more on reality. Not that either one is not as important, but then when they meet in the middle, it's like a magical mix. Now, the thing about Maffi Stoto, sometimes I can see how in his face, how because of Nota always implying that he's stupid because he can't speak English. I don't know if it's other things that make him feel a bit insecure, then he holds back on the podcast. And I really don't like that. I don't like that because I want to hear what he has to say. As a matter of fact, Nota brought the spark back into Music Pulse, but Maffi Stoto was really that just that level of balance that I need, man. As a child, there's just that balance that you need from a grown-up. That's kind of what Maffi Stoto gives me in the podcast. But now the thing is, sometimes Nota gets so much on his nerve, he doesn't speak. You can see in his face how irritated he is. If he could get up and strangle Nota, he probably would. But then I digress. So my thing is just like, I do think they should give each other a chance. And then Thakgi, why are you always just like getting Maffi Stoto to finish his point? And sometimes Thakgi also be like interrupting Nota so much when he wants to land, and that also annoys me. I just had to put that out there. Okay, so now getting to the whole MacG thing. MacG, I think he understands the podcasting culture. He understands taking shots, and they speak about any and everything anytime it needs to be spoken about. But for me, MacG bringing up this part or this specific time podcast, I wonder who he was talking to, and I want to dissect. If he was talking to whoever he was talking to, I want to dissect for you guys what he could have meant to probably either if he was talking to Thakgi, what he could have meant to Thakgi, if he was talking to Maffi Stoto, what he meant to Maffi Stoto, or if he was talking to Nota, what he said to Nota. But then I also want to question, and this is the question I have for both Questa and MacG, MacGyver. My question is, we all know we all know that Nota is a very interesting, vibrant character. He says things out his neck every single chance he gets. Like, he speaks out his neck when, like, if he just sees you, just gonna say something, off. So my question is, for both Questa and MacGyver, where is that point, or what was that point, or what was that thing that made you say, okay, look, from here and no more? For me, Questa, was it a number of things? Was it one specific thing he said? Was it a specific deal? Was it a specific position that he played? Because, Nota claims to have made every person. And at this point, you understand, if you know Nota, you know not to take it personally. But then my thing is, if Questa knew Nota for so long and he didn't take it personally for so long, what was that one thing that made him say, no, I am actually done? Or was he building up to say that one day this nigga be talking out his neck so much, one day I am going to just, up and leave? That's my question. Also for MacG. MacG, bringing Nota onto the network, he knows exactly how Nota is. I mean, Nota was when you got your 100K plaque. And when was that? I think I saw the interview was 5 years ago. So 5 years ago, Nota. Nota. The Nota, There's no other, Nota. He's gonna speak out his neck. So my thing is just, what may brought you to the point where you are now saying things like Music Pulse thinks they are the main chicks? Did Nota annoy you? Did Maffi Stoto annoy you? Did Thakgi annoy you? I understand they said something about he has money now, so he's a bit chill, which you are. But don't take it personally, because you have done enough. You have the right to be tired or to be chill. If anything, it's just, I don't think anybody can do what you do the way you do it. But you should understand that, okay, maybe I should take a backseat and just run the network at some point. Maybe not now. Not now. You guys are still very hot. But I'm just saying, maybe this is also your sign to be like, okay, maybe I should start taking a backseat. Which you don't have to. I mean, this is a love project for you. But then also don't feel like you always have to be the hottest. Because at this point, you have done your part. So if you try and be the hottest, you're going to burn out. So let them have it. But my thing is, like, I understand you try to put Nota, I understand you try to put them all in their place. But then my thing is, knowing, if Nota had said something that offended you, what could it have been? Because you know how Nota is. So why are you taking offense now to anything he says? Because I'm sure he said something that could have offended you even before he got onto the network. Not that even said that he made you at some point. I remember something about what. I don't know. But he has this thing of saying he made a lot of people. So what exactly, which point did you were like, this nigga gotta stand back and not say things like that? You understand? That's just kind of my question when it comes to that. When it comes to Maffi Stoto, I don't know. I don't understand. Because I saw them back down. And I know these guys talk, especially Nota. But then they had such a high energy in the episode before MacG approached them. And then in the episode after, the energy was a little bit more respectful, a little bit more low. Not trying to say too much. But my thing is, do you actually feel like they could be taking over? And for me personally, that question is no. That is no. Music Pulse is great. It's amazing. It's nice. It's so enlightening and insightful. So insightful. It's really funny. It's all of the things. But Music Pulse has a lot of shock value. And I am yet to see anything. And I said this, I think, in the previous episode. I am yet to see anything last off of shock value. I swear to you, if it's not the audience that's gonna be overstimulated, because I sometimes feel overstimulated after watching that podcast. I'm like, I'm so tired. Like, I'm just so tired. Like, it's up, down, then this one is angry. So I don't think something like that is going to have the lifespan that MacG's podcast had, because MacG's podcast was consistent. It had crazy moments, but then the shock value. But then they also had a lot of shock value moments. So I don't know. But then that comes to my point again. They had shock value moments, but now they have to dim it down. Not because of the audience, not because there's no more shock value, not because people won't be shocked about things they do, but because things have their ups and downs. That's just how life is. So something won't be shock, and every time I will just go watch this shock. No, sometimes I just want to watch a podcast with chill people talking about chill things, just sometimes I want to watch Kay Kulture, just relax, I also, when they drop, I'm like, I look at my mood, I'm like, okay, what am I feeling like today? When I feel like I want to be calm, I don't want my peace to be disturbed in any way, even if it's entertainment, I wouldn't watch music pods. So I wouldn't say they are taking over, but they are the hottest podcast right now, which is fine, So I just wanted to give my 2 cents on what I think could be going on. If you guys have any other opinions on what could be going on, please do let me know. Please, call to action. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's grow our channel. Let's grow our channel, please. Be sure to come back to our new episode. And to the Culturians, I love you guys so much. Bye.
Yeah, boss, I gotta